40% of people on social media never post anything. Psychologists just discovered they're not the weird ones. You might be. Here's what happens in the gap between opening your camera and hitting share. Your brain runs a calculation. Will people like this? Does this make me look successful enough? Is my Tuesday afternoon interesting enough for 247 people I haven't spoken to in years? This isn't new. Sociologist Goffman talked about how we all wear masks to control how others see us. But social media turned that private performance into a permanent stage with a billion-person audience. One awkward caption isn't just embarrassing, it lives forever. Anyone can judge it whenever they want. So what do people who don't post do differently? They skip the performance entirely. Researchers call them lurkers. That word sounds creepy, like they're hiding in digital shadows, but a study in Frontiers in Psychology found something fascinating. When you combine social comparison pressure with fear of judgment and privacy concerns, something breaks. The brain enters protection mode. Think about it. Comparing yourself to others isn't just unhelpful, it's neurologically damaging. Everyone posts highlight reels while you're living Tuesday afternoon reality. Your brain sees their promotion, their engagement ring, their vacation. And even though you know it's curated, your subconscious doesn't care. Your subconscious doesn't care if it's real life or performed life. It just sees they have more than me. Here's where it gets interesting. 2025 neuroscience research shows that social media activates the same dopamine pathways as slot machines. Every like is a mini reward. Every time you check and there's nothing, a mini punishment. People who don't post aren't avoiding connection, they're avoiding the casino. There's a psychology concept called self-determination theory. It says humans thrive when they feel autonomous, in control of their choices without external pressure. Social media is the exact opposite. It's a validation machine where self-worth gets measured by strangers' reactions. Research shows people who rarely post tend to have higher self-esteem that isn't tied to external approval. They scroll to stay connected, but they stay quiet because they value boundaries. Think about someone you know who rarely posts. When you see them in person, are they miserable, isolated? No, they're usually fine, sometimes more than fine, because they're living life instead of documenting it. Here's the trap most people miss. Even when you know social media is fake, your brain still compares. Just scrolling, browsing without posting triggers automatic social comparison. You see someone's new house. Even though you know the photo is staged, the damage is done. People who don't post avoid this constant psychological assault, not because they're weak, because they know the game is rigged. Why voluntarily join a competition where everyone else controls the camera, the angles, and the story? And then there's this whole group of people who watch YouTube religiously but won't touch Instagram or TikTok. They'll binge a 3-hour video essay but scroll past every photo dump. Why? Because YouTube doesn't demand performance from them. It's consumption without the social pressure. No one's tracking if you liked the video. No one's wondering why you haven't posted in 3 months. You're just learning, laughing, existing. It's the ultimate passive relationship with content. All the entertainment, none of the anxiety. They found the loophole. There's another layer here. People who avoid social media tend to have fewer friends but deeper relationships. They'd rather have 5 friends who actually know what's happening in their life than 1,000 people who like to post. And honestly, research backs this up. Quality friendships consistently predict happiness way better than quantity. 10 real conversations beat 1,000 reactions. But here's where it gets interesting. Not posting doesn't mean not caring. These people are hyper-observant. They notice things others miss. The shift in someone's posting frequency, the different tone in captions, the carefully constructed story that's just slightly off. They're not checked out, they're paying close attention, just quietly. They prefer understanding to performing, thinking to broadcasting, depth to noise. Psychologists distinguish between two types of self-awareness: public self-consciousness, worrying about how others see you, and private self-consciousness, focusing on your own thoughts and values. People who don't post lean heavily towards the second. Instead of asking, "How will this look?" they ask, "How does this feel?" That's not overthinking. That's emotional intelligence. When you're not constantly managing a public image, you have mental space for actual self-reflection, for asking hard questions, for building an identity that doesn't need an audience. Here's what people miss. Choosing not to post isn't hiding, it's power. It's saying my private life is valuable enough that it doesn't need to be shared for consumption. It's realizing some experiences get worse when you perform them. That sunset more beautiful when you're not photographing it. That conversation more meaningful when you're not mentally writing the caption. That achievement more satisfying when it's just yours. Studies show people who rarely post demonstrate higher self-awareness and emotional stability. They're less affected by the validation roller coaster that comes from tying your worth to likes. They're playing a longer game. Here's the paradox nobody talks about. The traits that make you avoid social media, autonomy, self-reflection, security, are exactly what social media claims to provide: connection, community, self-expression. Social media promised to bring us together. Instead, it created a performance economy where authenticity is the rarest commodity, where silence became suspicious, where not posting feels stranger than posting 3 times a day. The people who opt out aren't rejecting connection, they're rejecting the terms. They're saying, "I'll connect, but on my terms, in real time, without the performance." So ask yourself this: what if the people who don't use social media aren't missing out? What if they figured it out first? What if choosing privacy over posts, depth over followers, presence over performance isn't antisocial? What if it's the ultimate form of self-respect? Because here's the truth. Nobody on their deathbed wishes they'd posted more, but plenty of people wish they'd lived more. The quiet ones aren't hiding in the shadows. They're living in the light where cameras can't reach. And if you're one of those people, or if you're questioning whether you should be, this channel is for you. We break down the psychology behind how we live in a way that actually helps you understand yourself better. So if this hit different, subscribe. If you want more deep dives like this, hit the join button. I genuinely appreciate you being here.